Okay, let's see. Check, check, check. We need to get all these cameras set. Holy cow. I tell you what, got cameras coming out the ears. And let's get this out of the frame, shall we? We'll come up like that. And then down like that. No? Let's go around like that. Sorry, folks. Last minute changes here in the Streaming Idiot studio. Never a good thing to make last minute changes. Holy cow. And they probably won't work. All right, let's see. Kyle's here. Tim's here. Red Hornet, that's Ed, right? And Kevin is here. Kevin says he's got tons of Canon lenses and was looking at the AIDA cameras. Okay. Well, we'll see. We will see. I got the lens adapter, I guess Monday. And I tested to make sure my Canon lenses would attach to it. My Canon mount lenses, they're not Canon brand. They're Tamrons. And they did. And then I test mounted the adapter on the PTZ Optics camera, the ZCam-VL, which has a removable lens, and it fit. The adapter fit. It doesn't mean anything's going to work, but the adapter fit. And then I tried the adapter on the AIDA UHD camera, which is the 4K HDMI, and it fit. And then I put power and SDI to the PTZ Optics camera, and I got a blurry image, and that's as far as I've been. So you guys are going to get it raw and uncut and uncensored and untested. Typical Streaming Idiot style. So there you go. So Tim says he has a Canon T2i with a bunch of lenses. What lens? The ones I'm using today is the EF-S mount. So there you go. Vitali is here. Davey is here. Ronald Wallace. Oh my gosh. Hello, Ron. Automation for vMix. That would be Gunner, right? Otis is here from Houston. Welcome. Glad you guys are here. Let's see who we've got on the Streaming Idiot side. We don't know who we've got. Is it live yet? Is it working? Oh my gosh. Did I screw that one up? I'm sorry. It says the video's live. Okay, so let's see. Am I allowed to say screw? I should be. Oh, there's the play button. Okay. A little washed out, a little gray. I'll have to fix that. but I don't know that I've got time to fix it right now. Anyway, for those of you that are watching on Streaming Idiots, I would love to have you come over to the Eastern Shore Broadcasting page, right down there, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, because you'll get this. Because we can't pick up the comments from a group because of Facebook's Ed Griswold. Oh my gosh, flash from the past. Hey, Ed. Sandy and I are actually coming down to St. Pete in a couple of weeks, for a couple of weeks. Love to have breakfast with you or something like that. That would be great. Anyway, would invite you guys to come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com so you can get it on the chat, because it's got the YouTube feed is embedded into our website. Both the video and the chat are embedded, so you can chat with the rest of us. Ed and I had breakfast together probably, 5 years ago. Has it been that long? Maybe longer. And then bumped into each other at a Tampa Bay Rowdies soccer match, because Ed handles all of the live streaming for the Rowdies. All right. So OC Gamer, who is also Otis from Texas, has a Blackmagic Cinema 4K ZCam-V1 and a few AIDA UHD-100s. Well, the question is, what type of mount does the camera have? When you mount the lens, what is that size? And there are different sizes. I just happened to pick the C adapter because I thought the AIDA UHD, which is a 4K camera, and the PTZ Optics ZCam-VL both had C-mount lenses. And I think the PTZ Optics also has a CS mount with an adapter to mount a C, because the CS is slightly larger than the C. All right, let's see. How are we doing on show? All right, we're getting close to showtime here. We're good. Rich is here. Hey, Rich. Rich loves repurposing and combining gear. This will be right up his alley. We're, let's see, can I take a picture of that? Yeah, let's see what we can see. Where's my camera tab? There's my camera tab. Where's my camera? There's my camera. And can we just swing it around? Sony Visca over IP. We don't appear to have camera control. That's interesting. If we disconnect it, what happens? And we connect it back. There we go. Now we have camera control. There we go. So let's speed it up just a little bit. And I'll show you the test bench area. Yep, there it is right there. And let's zoom in. And looks like you're going to zoom in on a light stand. Oh my gosh. Let me move that light stand. 1 second. Probably ought to turn the lights on too, huh? Okay, let's see. Do we have a clear shot? Looks like we have a clear shot. So we'll zoom it just a tad more for the moment. We'll create an input there. And then we'll bring it back home for the show. I love the slow zoom of this P100. Okay, let's see. Does that put us in pretty good stead with everything else? No. That's about right. Oops. Got to keep that mic out of the way. All right, so we'll create an input there, so we're good to go there. All right. All right. We are playing with cameras today, Stephen. Yes, we are. And we're going to have fun with it. Whether it works or not, we'll see, but we're going to have fun with it. Scott's here. Memories is here. Let's see. Ron says, Tom, have a church in the area that has PTZ Optics camera. Picture is clear, but looks dark after streaming. Huh. Well, we can probably help with that. Scott Pienta is here. Scott is GPS challenged. I don't know if anybody else knew that. Yeah, we'll tell you that story one day. Ron says it's clear on the monitor and bright and looks like a tent is on it once streamed. Okay, there you go. He just texted me the pictures. All right, there you go. Well, okay. Otis says up a hair, LOL. Yeah, well, Otis, don't have too many hairs left. We're working hard on keeping them. Let's see. Let's go back here. So we are playing. Let's go ahead and start the show because it is showtime. So sit one sec. Let's get this puppy moving. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You caught me looking at myself in the monitor. You know how you're looking down like that. And then you got like, oh yeah, that's right. I've got to make eye contact with the camera. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. This is a typical idiot show where we do something that we don't know if it's going to work or not. Don't know where it's going to work or not. So here's the story. Got this really cool PTZ Optics camera. It's the PTZ Optics ZCam, and they make several versions of the ZCam, but this is the VL, the variable lens. So it's got a little manual zoom lens on it. And I've played with it, and it's cool. Yeah, how's that being damned with faint praise? But I've been experimenting with other lenses on it, and I think that really makes it pop when you can get a lens that's got a little bit of a longer throw. And I thought, well, I've got all these great lenses from my DSLR. I've got an old Canon 20D that takes the EF-S lens, mount lens from Canon. I said, I wonder if they make an adapter that might adapt to that PTZ Optics camera, and then I can put some bigger glass on there and do some other stuff with it. And it's probably got all sorts of problems to do that. So, and I haven't tested it. So I said, okay, let's find a lens adapter. Now the PTZ Optics camera will accept any C-mount lens. Now C-mount is a particular lens size. Do I have a lens here to illustrate? No, of course not. I'll show you one in a second. It also has the ability to take a CS mount, which is a different size. The CS is larger, the C mount is a little smaller. And I don't know how I looked up and ordered the C mount, but I did, and I found out that the AIDA UHD, ultra high definition, i.e. 4K, HDMI camera, the AIDA UHD, takes a C mount also, and it's just a little box cam, and it's over there out of reach too. I'll show you it in just a second. So I looked up and got the adapter that would fit both of them. Now, if I had a CS adapter, it would have fit the PTZ Optics. There's a little insert in there, and you can twist it out, and the CS is a little bigger. And so I've got it mounted up. This is gonna mess with your eyes, but bear with me for just a second because we're gonna zoom. We're gonna PTZ over to that for just a second. There you go. So that is the Canon, the PTZ Optics ZCam-VL with the C mount and with a, I think it's like an 18 to 37 millimeter or 18 to 70 millimeter lens on it. It's a Tamron, and I've got another Tamron lens over here that is a zoom. It's a 75 to 300, and I think that's going to be way, way, way too much to test with here in the studio. And I've got that camera connected via SDI. You can see two cables kind of hanging out of the back of it, SDI and power. And here is the image. So yeah, what do you think of that? That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what? Okay, well, actually, the camera is actually focusing or pointing towards, I won't say it's focusing, but it's pointing towards a blanket that we have hanging from the ceiling in order to cut some of the sound. So let's, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm going to zoom back up. I'm going to PTZ back over to that camera. And I tried to hook up a monitor in the pre-show so that I could see what that camera saw, but I couldn't quite get it connected right at the last minute. So I'm going to have to go back and forth between this station to see if we're making any luck. So what I'd like to do is to take this image, and this is all on the fly now, folks, all on the fly. And I'm going to do a multi-view, and I'm going to add my my camera. So let's see here. Which one is my camera? Well, we'll just do the main shot. All right, and we'll edit that down. And we're just going to bring me over into the bottom right-hand quadrant. So that's what it looks like. Let's take the lower third off. And I'm going to swing this camera around. And we're going to see. Tom said, Amnon says, Tom, get up and point that camera on you. Well, I've got to go to the camera because everything is manual. So even if I pointed it to me, I still couldn't see it. So let's use this shot for a second. And I'm going to walk over and I'm going to PTZ over. And let's see what we see. Okay, so we've got the camera is pointed towards nothing, really. So let's see if we can adjust it so that it points towards the clock. Can we do a clock? That looks like it pointed just about at the clock. So let's see what we see there when we point at the clock. Well, we're beginning to see a little bit of an image. We need to go down on the left a little bit. So let's go left. And we'll go down just a hair. See, are we pointing at the clock? Yeah. Now let's see. We're on manual focus. So let's try to do a little bit of a focus here. How are we doing there? Is that making a bit of a difference? Can't really tell if I'm making progress there. Let's go all the way out on phone. Didn't seem to help much. Okay. Well, let's take the zoom and bring it all the way in. And then change our focus all the way out. Doesn't seem to make much difference there. Oh, that's getting a little bit clearer. That's a little bit clearer. And I think I've lost my clock. There we go. All right. Now that's pretty clear. well, clearer than what we had before. We can try to do some focus and see if that makes any difference. Yes, it does. We'll go all the way out. And now let's see if we zoom a little more, it's out of focus. And so if we take our focus back a little bit, we can bring it back into focus. Oop, I think I went too far there. Well, that's pretty close. If I could, let's see if I can go a little bit further here. That's not bad. That's not bad. So that clock is about a foot in diameter, and it's about, I'd say 10 feet. Well, let me show you the clock. We got a PTZ camera here. Let's see if we can whip it around and show you the clock. There's the clock. So if I zoom in, let's increase the zoom speed for just a minute. And this is a 10x zoom that I'm showing you. And let's take those two and put them side by side. So one second, let me set that up for you. Okay, so side by side, on the left we've got the Bird Dog P100 10x zoom, zoomed all the way in on the clock, and on the right we have the PTZ Optics VL cam. Let me see if I can get that a little more on the clock. Just a hair movement, I think, is all I need. Not enough of a hair? Nope, a little bit more of a hair. Is that too much? No, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. So essentially, we have got an 80 millimeter lens, essentially an 80 millimeter lens, focusing at probably 10 feet. A pretty good shot. Boy, I'd love to have set this up outside so I could have shown you across the street. The AIDA camera has got a little bit longer reach, so maybe I can set that up. We'll get this spun back around to me. All right, very good. Now keep in mind that these cameras, the two cameras are at very different angles. The one here, which is coming from the PTZ Optics camera, is at a side angle. So if you're trying to look at the second hand and see if they're in sync, the PTZ Optics will appear to be ahead of the Bird Dog. But it's just an optical illusion. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there's a delay, but there really isn't a delay. I should have, if I'd had time, I would have set these up. I would have had these set up straight on. Okay, so let's say HDMI monitor. Well, yeah, this particular camera doesn't have an HDMI output. It has SDI only, so we're sort of limited. And I didn't have time to set up a monitor here and have it attached to the PC so we could see anything. You know, this is all raw. This is raw right here. Tom Willis, welcome, Tommy. He's had optical contusions before. Well, okay, you're fixing to have some more. All right, so let's spin around, and we're going to swap out the PTZ Optics camera for the AIDA camera, and so we'll get that going. We'll go over there and hook all this stuff up and de-hook it up. So yeah, here we come. Here we come. So let's take the SDI off. We're going to unplug the power. We're going to take the camera off, and you can see pretty cool, pretty neat looking little setup. I mean, you know, and you imagine if I put the big lens on it, it would have looked even cooler. So we'll take that off, and we'll take the lens off. Lens covers on. For a moment. And then we'll take the adapter off. And then let's go ahead and put a lens back on it so that we cover up the sensor. All right, and this is the AIDA camera, HDMI out, and it's got a pigtail I've got to go find here in just a second that'll have the power, and then it only has the one mount, so we'll mount this adapter on there. Now this one I have not tried at all. The PTZ Optics I hooked up. We're not going to be able to hook this one onto the tripod, are we? No, because the adapter gets in the way. And then we probably should have just left this lens on the adapter. We'll line up our red dots and turn it till it clicks. And now we've got the AIDA camera mounted with the lens. So let's get, we'll get HDMI output connected. Yep. And then let me get a power cable for this guy. 1 second. Got kind of an interesting multi-function cable that plugs into it that allows for power and audio with a mic in and a line in jack, and also has RS-485 control. So we're just going to attach that to the back of the camera. There we go, till it snaps. We've got a little AC/DC adapter here that we will plug into the red port marked DC 12V, and then we'll plug in the power. And that should turn the camera on. Yep, you can see the red light from the camera. And I'll use Amnon's suggestion. I'll point this one back towards me. I can get it to point that direction. Let's see, which way is up? I think this way is up. Okay. So let's see if we can get it to sit somewhere fairly steady. Fairly steady. All right. So now we've got power, we've got connection for the video, and I'll pan down. If you can't see it, I'll pan down and show you what this setup is, and we'll add that camera to our production. Yeah, sorry about that. You didn't get to see anything I was doing there. So let's just pan down. And that's the same lens. You can see the AIDA on the back side. And let's see what we can see so far as a input from that camera. So I'm going to add an input. It's going to be a camera input. It's going to be the DeckLink Mini Recorder 4K. It's going to be HDMI. We're going to bring it in at 4K. And let's see if we get, no, didn't like that video format. Let's try again. Didn't like that video format. Let's try one more time. Nope. Okay. Well, let's just see. Maybe we set this camera up for regular high definition. Let's see if it comes in that way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have an image. Hurrah! There's our image. There's our image. And it seems to be, that's me. A little out of focus. Had a wild night last night. Looks like it's trying to do a little focus on its own, maybe. Let's see if we can't do a, let's do a side-by-side shot. It's number 65. Oh, hold on one sec. You know how it is when you're doing something for the first time that you've never done before and it may not work. It's always interesting to give it a try and see. So we're going to go 65 and 66. And let's go ahead and send that live. Okay, so I'm going to step across and make some adjustments to the camera. And you guys holler real loud and tell me if you can see anything. Looks like the camera image froze. Let's see. We're going to send the zoom all the way out. Yeah, it doesn't look. I'm going to plug that camera, unplug it, plug it back in again and see what happens. See if we get, well, we still got me in the shot, but I'm not there. Let's re-add that input because it looks like it's just frozen right there. So we're going to close it. Actually, let's leave it there. And, oh, we've got movement now. Okay, 66. Let's put 66 back over here. There we go. Okay. So there is some movement. Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's see. This is pretty close to the same. What would we call it? Let's add one more thing here. Hold on. Sit tight, sit tight, sit tight. Let's go there, and then we'll add the webcam in right there. So now you've got a shot of me when I'm here. This is the same settings so far as focus and zoom that were successful on the PTZ Optics camera. So let's see if we can get the zoom is all the way out. So let's take it all the way in and see if we have any changes there. Yeah, it doesn't look like that helped much, does it? So let's go all the way back out. And I'm going to zoom all the way out to 80 millimeters. Actually, where's the camera? Where? Right there. That's not too bad a focus. That's about 5 feet. So we need to see if we can focus some more. Although this is a little closer. Let me see if I can set it back up heading for the clock, because that'll be kind of a familiar distance. See how close we are there. Yeah, we got the clock in the frame. Okay. So let's apply a little focus to it. Before we do that, let's apply a little zoom. I'm going to go up to 50 millimeters. Now we're going to go up to 60 millimeters. Now we're going to do a little focus one direction. That help a little bit. And we'll go back a little. No, I think that went out. So that's our best focus. And let's see what we got at 70 millimeters. 70 millimeters, we're getting some sharpness there. Okay. Now let's see, can I... So 70 millimeters on the AIDA is about the equivalent of the 10x on the Bird Dog. All right. So I'm reading some of what you guys are writing. And Neil is here. Welcome. And Kenny's here. Hey, Kenny. Welcome, guys. You crossed a point where it was clear in Zoom, says Tim, 2 minutes ago. Well, I get it. So I guess we could say that the experiment is a success, both with the PTZ Optics ZCam-VL and with the AIDA UHD, that's the 4K HDMI camera. The rest of the setup here is that both cameras were coming out of a Blackmagic, both cameras were going into a Blackmagic Decklink Mini Monitor 4K card. Even though neither camera, apparently the AIDA, I had reset it from 4K to to HD. So both of them are coming in at 1920 by 1080, 29.97 NTSC on the frame rate, SDI, of course, on the PTZ Optics, and HDMI, of course, on the AIDA. I was trying to think if I had other capture devices I could bring them in on, but I think that's going to be a little too confusing for what we want to do. So Martin K is here. Martin, as you know, my knowledge of cameras and lenses and such is in the shallow end of the pool. In fact, here in the U.S., occasionally when we have a community pool, we'll have a large pool with a deep end and a shallow end. And then there'll be another little pool over here for the babies. That'll be about this deep. And when it comes to camera knowledge, I'm in the baby pool. I really am. And then maybe I know more than the average man on the street. But so Martin's comment is, do I get the impression that it's not going to be parfocal? Parfocal? Or is it just that the back focus is way out of that adapter? Now, Martin, you're going to have to explain a little bit what parfocal means. I think I know what you mean. I think what we've done by adding the adapter is that we've added, what is it? Probably about maybe 3/4 of an inch to the distance between the lens and the sensor. And obviously that distance affects the focus, and it probably affects the zoom as well. It definitely affects the lens. OC Gamer Otis says shallow depth of field. Yeah, I don't know if, I mean, obviously we can try to focus. Yeah, it had when you were focusing on my finger, my ring finger, the background was way blurred. So yeah, very shallow depth of field. All right, Martin says that parafocal means it stays in focus once set while zooming in and out. I don't think it's going to be parafocal. Right. That was the impression I got, because if we zoom right now, we're going to lose focus. So let's give that a try. So we are currently at a 70 millimeter zoom on this lens, which goes to 80. So I'm going to just go ahead and bump it up to 80. And that's full zoom. And you can see as soon as I moved the zoom, it went out of focus. So it is not parafocal. So let's run it back to 80. And then the real question is, can I take it? Do I have enough ability to focus? Kevin Michael Reed says most still lenses are varifocal. Okay, I guess that's the opposite of parafocal. Variable focus. But let's bump it back to 80 and see if we can get focus on it, just while Martin is figuring out how to reply to my idiocy. So we'll go to 80 here. And that's out of focus. And then let's see if we've got any ability to focus in that direction, if that helps a little bit. Yeah, that helps a little bit. Did I go too far or not far enough? We'll add just a little bit more that same direction. It went out. Okay, so let's come back. And that's not too bad. We're not pointed very well, but you get the idea. Okay, so Martin says most cine and video zooms are parafocal, or else people wouldn't use them. And Ed says the only PTZ lens I have had that was parafocal was a Panasonic. Well, okay then. Most cine lenses don't do zoom. Okay. Yeah, that's probably true. How do I know if that's true or not? I don't have a clue. I wish I had the ability to set the PTZ Optics and the AIDA side by side. I guess it doesn't really matter. I only have one lens of that size. I do have my super zoom, which starts at 75, and we're at 80 right here, so we could probably get this same shot. This is the AIDA UHD, which is the little box cam. It's HDMI output, and it's 4K. The 100A, I think it is. Yep, I think it's the 100A. That rings a bell. I've got the box right here. I can guess, or I can tell you that it is the UHD-100A. Yes, correct. Yes, correct. And I've actually got a couple of these on hand. Martin says there are old C-mount zoom lenses from film cameras that could be used on these cameras. I have got a couple of zooms that are C-mounts that don't require an adapter. Let's see what I was using that I ended up liking. Well, I can't lay my hands on it right this second. But Otis says I have a few HD-100As for overheads and such. There you go. Ed says, actually, Tom, sometimes this kind of on-air experimenting is super valuable. Telling other people don't do this. Did you see that little glitch? That's in the webcam. Yeah. Saving time and money. So thank you for doing this. Well, I thought it would just be fun to do it just to see, you know, and maybe it's a hack that allows somebody to do something that they can't already do. I mean, for example, there are a lot of folks that have got this PTZ Optics ZCam-VL camera. And, you know, the question always is, you know, can I replace the lens? Well, if we could replace the lens and use a zoom lens that goes to 300, oh, this one tends to be a little soft at 300. It's much better at 200. Then, you know, maybe we've got an opportunity to do something in a fixed situation, not that somebody's going to be zooming and doing anything. Let's see, turn the autofocus off. There we go. You know, nobody is going to be manually operating this, but nevertheless, it's got some options. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Vitali was not Otis. My bad. All right. Well, let's try putting this guy on and just see what happens. I mean, that's the whole idea of the show today. We're running a little long, but that's okay. The network will forgive us. So I'm going to unplug this cam for just a second. And we're going to take the lens off. And let's get our lens cap on there. And let's see if this guy will mount. I have not tried this one at all, so let's get our red dots matched up. And try to get it mounted in such a way that makes sense, and we'll go ahead and give it power. Got had a nice focus there on the moving blanket for a second. So let's see if we can move that over. I'm going to set the zoom to set for 75. And again, we'll try to get the clock in the shot. Almost there. There we go. Okay, so we've got a clock. Now we need to add some focus. Well, let's see, having a little trouble getting it to sit upright because, again, don't have a tripod that can work with having these lenses on there, so I'm kind of having a, where's that shooting? Let's see how we got there. Well, we're getting close to it. We've got the edge of the clock, but we still don't have any focus. So let's take our focus all the way out. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the zoom a little bit to 100. And it looks like it's wandering just a little bit. Okay, so that's that lens at 100. Let's go to 200. Again, I got to find my focal point. I probably should have picked something bigger than a clock. Is that just a tinge of the clock in there? No, no clock in that picture. There's a little bit of clock. Okay, so that's 200. So let's adjust our focus. We'll go all the way in. That didn't help. We'll go halfway. That's not helping. We'll go a little further. And we've lost our clock. There we go. Get a little close to having the right. Could be that we're now too close to be able to focus, because I'm about out of focus on the ring. Okay, so is that still 200? Let's check. No, we went back to 100. So let's go back to 200. That's 200. I must have been changing the zoom and the focus simultaneously. Okay, so we'll try a little less focus. And we've lost our clock. There we go. We're getting a little closer on focus. We'll try a tad less. There we go. That's pretty close. We can try just a little bit more focus. Too much. Too much. Let's go back the other way. Again, just a hair. Maybe we were too far to begin with, so let's go back another hair. There you go. Okay, so that's a 200 millimeter lens. And you got a feel for how big the clock was before. So Vitaly says, better point out that bad boy. Oh, point that bad boy out the window. All the windows here are frosted. Sorry, can't help you on that. So the lens that we're currently showing up here is it's a 300 millimeter lens, but we're only zoomed out 200 millimeters. That lens, I used to shoot sports with this lens, and at 300 millimeters, it was a little fuzzy, a little soft. The crop Vitali says the crop factor on that AIDA with a 300 millimeter lens is going to be crazy. Yeah, yeah. But, you know, it all depends on what you're shooting and what you want. In this case, you know, I spent $14 on an adapter and was able to repurpose or potentially repurpose 2 lenses that were no longer in use and give other capabilities to 2 cameras. So I can see, you know, a situation where you've got the PTZ Optics ZCam-VL, pull the lens off of it, put an adapter on it, put a big lens on it, and mount it up somewhere, and be able to have, I mean, yeah, you're going to have that shot, and that's the only shot that you've got. But if you've got the camera and you've got the lens and you need the shot, then there you go. There you go. We're going to close out the show part, and I'm going to address your questions in the post-show. So if you're watching live, hang around. If you're watching us on YouTube and you got this far, you may as well subscribe. We'd love to have you join our Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. We don't take just everybody, so, you know, pretty stringent idiot requirements to get in. So anyway, we will, I'm trying a new mouse today. It's a rechargeable mouse, and I really like the keyboard that came with it. The reason I'm mentioning it is the mouse has died. Oh, nope, it's come back to life. It's come back to life. All right, very good. So we'll go to post-show and be right back. Okay, there we go. I was trying to make this camera zoom out a little bit and zoom, oops, that's too far, and zoom over so you could sort of see the jury-rig job that we did of mounting it on foam blocks. And, you know, the lens is like this long and the camera is like this long. So this would be one of those situations where you probably would mount the camera by the lens. Yep, you would mount the camera by the lens, not mount the lens attached to the camera. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. Let's see. Let's bring up the chat here. All right, Kevin said 4 millimeters on a 1 and 2.3 inch sensor is equivalent to 24 millimeters on a 35. Okay, so let's take that. So are you talking about the adapter size, or are you just talking about in general the distance between the are you talking about the distance between the sensor and the lens? Because essentially that's what we fiddled with, is taking the lens a little further away from the sensor. I don't understand the physics of the optics. But okay, so Kevin said that's not including the adapter. Yep. And the adapter, let's see, I can bring up the adapter. Let's see if anybody's interested and they want to duplicate this nonsense. Let me pull, I think it was an eBay item. Let's see if I can pull that up on eBay and at least show you a picture of it. That's my purchase history will do. Oh, there we go. Come on, come on. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Purchase history. Yeah, there it is. All right. So let's see if I can do a open image in new tab. Yeah, there we go. All right. And can I do something with this image? Maybe save it and then bring it in. We'll save it on the desktop. And then we can bring it in real quick to vMix so you can see what it looks like. And that is the adapter. Obviously, the small side on the bottom attaches to the camera. The big side on the top attaches to the lens. I wouldn't say it's great quality. I'd say it's, you know, it's cheap. Yeah, that's what I'd call it. I would call it cheap. But for an experiment like this, it's, you know, it's a good solution. For some reason, that camera keeps wanting to go back to, oh, it goes because we selected that. Gotcha. So the idea is that, number one, that anybody can do this. And maybe, you know, repurpose a piece of gear that, especially one of these cameras. You know, for example, if you're doing gig work and you've got these AIDA cameras in your kit, or you've got the PTZ Optics cameras in your kit for that matter, this just gives you a little extra flexibility with those cameras, assuming that, you know, you can go through and figure out how to mount the AIDA camera to the, or take the AIDA camera, excuse me, goodness, I'm keeping myself awake. Take the AIDA lens, AIDA camera lens combination and figure out how to mount that. The PTZ Optics camera, I think, was fine with the lens that I used. I don't know how it would have done with the larger lens. Obviously, it would have been a little front heavy, but it still might have had enough strength in the camera and the adapter to hold the lens up. The problem with the AIDA camera, so far as mounting was concerned, was not the lens, but it was this guy. This adapter plate got in the way of the tripod plate mounting on the bottom of the camera. Anyway, there you go. There you go. So it's the crop factor. Okay. Well, I'm okay with this shot right here. I think that's not a bad little shot. I mean, obviously, I'd like to see if I couldn't. Where do I have that shot? Let's take that shot full screen here. That's pretty good clarity. I mean, I could work with that some more, but you can even see the reflection of the minute dots in the frame. And that's just an inexpensive camera, clock, excuse me. Nothing fancy. So yeah. Okay, Vitaly says, can you use a mounting claw with the AIDA and adapter? Yes, I bet you can. You just put that mounting claw right on the lens. The way the AIDA, let's go back to this AIDA for a second. And you notice all the paraphernalia on the back of it. And so this paraphernalia basically is all the extra wires and gear attached to the back of the camera. So right up there, you've got, don't pay any attention to my screwdriver right here, but you've got the pigtail, which provides power, and then you've got the HDMI cable. So, both of those are going to try to impact the positioning of the camera for sure. All right, Kevin says 5x crop factor. So a 24 millimeter lens equivalent to 134 on a Super 35. Hard to get a wide out of that. almost need to use a fisheye. Well, yes, and in that case, if I were going to go wide, I would use the lens that came with the camera. I'm thinking something more on the zoomy end than I am the wide end. And, you know, for example, if I had a, and I'd like to play with this in a hall this big, if I had a hall that was, you know, 75 to 100 feet long, you know, say, you know, I don't know, 25 to 30 meters, how well would a 200 millimeter zoom lens do in this situation? I mean, you know, would there be enough clarity to the image to make it worthwhile? All right, Kevin says, what's the quality like of the lens that came with the camera? I didn't care for it on the AIDA, and I replaced it immediately with a different lens that was, I think, a Fuji lens that was more attuned to 4K images than the lens that came with the camera. The lens that came with the PTZ Optics camera was a variable focus. Well, let me grab both of them. 1 second here. So the lens that came with the PTZ Optics camera, make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here. No, this is the one I like. This is the one I've replaced it with. It's not a Fuji. It's a a Fujinon. But it was a 2.8 to 12 millimeter, and the glass was supposedly rated for 4K. And yeah, we'll just leave that on for now. And then this is the lens that came on the AIDA, which was, no, I take that back. This is the lens that came on the PTZ Optics, which is a 3.6 to 11 millimeter zoom. And it's, no? Well, this says CCTV 4K. So I bet this is the one that came on the AIDA. Yep. Anyway, we would have to look it up. We would have to look it up. Ed says this would be good for a cross-court shot to your announcers for halftime for basketball or volleyball. Good. Or a scoreboard shot for OCR. Yep. And Vitaly said, yeah, the AIDA lens doesn't zoom. Well, let me see if I can find one. 1 sec. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here's the AIDA lens. It's got a 3.6 to 11 millimeter zoom, which is, you know, not much of a zoom. But in 4K, you can zoom. You can get a little bit more digital zoom by taking it out to 1080p, or even more to go to 720. So there you go. Kevin said this was a good test and great timing. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it worked for you. I thought it was a lot of fun, and for $15, you know, for $15, we could play with this stuff and see. Yeah. So there's something for those of you that like to play around with things. It can open up a whole new world depending on what you already have. Vitaly says, mine's fixed, no zoom, and smaller than that one. Which AIDA camera do you have? Do you have the UHD-100? Then they probably shipped you a different lens. Oh, you know what? I bought 2 of these Fujicon lenses. Is this a Fujicon? No, the bigger one's the Fujicon. This is the one that came with it. This this is the one that came with it. I'm pretty sure. Fujinon, sorry, Fujinon. 2.8 to 12, and this is 3.6 to 11. Okay. Ed says, this motivates me to set up the old Vicons and test it too. Yeah, I mean, just because something has got some date to it doesn't mean it's not good. All right. He says he's got the HD-100, not the UHD-100A. Yeah, I think that's what this is, the UHD-100A. I think the A means HDMI. UHD-100A. Yep, and you've got the HD-100A. Got it. Yep. All right. Solved that mystery. Solved that mystery. But yes, I would encourage you to play with stuff, experiment with it. Give me a shout out and let me know, because I'd be interested to hear how you came out with it. Yep. So we're going to wind it up for today. I say that as the clock winds down. And thank you all for hanging out with me and taking a look at this. This will be fun, something we can refer back to. And I would say that this has been a success. It wasn't as easy as I had hoped. It wasn't as good as I had hoped, but it within a range, we've got some usability here. Yep. Oh, you know what would have been interesting to do? To do a close-up. Let me set up a quick close-up here, just 1 second, just for fun, And we're going to switch lenses back to this shorter lens. And just disconnect the power from this guy for a second so we don't fry something. And lens cover on. Disconnect the lens. Put that lens cover on. Take this lens cover off. 1 second here. But if you have somewhere to go, by all means, we'll see you later. Where's that red dot? There it is. Okay. We're going to take this all the way in. We'll just see what we can get here. For something really, really close. Yes, we're going to need power. And it's a different camera input. Oh, no, it's same camera input. That's right. So there it is. And we are focusing on the corner of my camera case. So let me move that a little bit more into the shot. There we go. And we're going to do something with the zoom to see if we've got ability on the zoom end. Now we may have to, excuse me, that was focus end, not the zoom end. We may have to increase the zoom just a little bit. And now we'll try some focus. My guess is there's a sweet spot in where the focus and the zoom will really begin to work with each other. We're going to go up to 50 millimeters here. And a little bit of zoom. Excuse me, that was focus. A little bit more focus. Go up to 50 millimeters. We're just at 50. And we've got a little bit of focus. A little bit more focus. And a little bit more focus. So focus is going to be the issue. A little bit more zoom. Oh, you know what? I think our image is frozen. So everything I was just doing was not working. So let's try that again. HDMI, bing, bing, bing. Okay, is that a bona fide shot? Looks like it might be. Not sure what I'm focusing on. It doesn't have any detail with it. Let's try that. That's a real big zoom because it's zooming right between two little pieces there. Let's use a little less zoom. This little experiment may not work. We may not have the ability to do anything close up, just because of that distance on the lens, between the lens and the sensor. Well, that's okay. Now we know. Now we know. There's probably a depth a distance between the subject and the camera that is the minimum distance, and you can't go any closer than that. Obviously, that's too close. And then we'll play with it some more. So, it's not getting any better, says Guido. That's right. And it was not frozen, says Amnon. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys. If anybody's interested in the AIDA UHD-100, I have got some on hand that I've had for a while, and I could probably make you a deal on them. So let me know. Not interested in selling my the lenses that go with my DSLR, but that's all right. They're a dime a dozen. Hit the lens with a big hammer to get the lens closer to the sensor. Well, we could do that. Yeah, we could. We could. We won't, but we could. Yeah. Currently, I'm setting up a second socially distanced boardroom 2 miles away, and we're just adding those cameras, NDI, and auto-limiting Dante mixer to be controlled using our something. It's all right. Guido says, Vitali says, message me a price over Facebook later, Tom. Will do. Will do. Over Fiber Network. Got it. All right, guys. Loved hanging out with you. Thank you so much. If you need me, holler. If I need you, I know where to find you. We'll let you roll out here with some Streaming Idiots theme song. Will that work? Here you go. Bye now.